So, a group of fans have decided to petition to have a female love interest for Elsa in Frozen 2, essentially making her the first gay princess in the world of Disney. Now, I can understand why. When you look at the movie Frozen, it was groundbreaking in the aspect that it was telling a moral that a woman doesn't need a man to live happily ever after. And it was among the first of its kind to introduce that concept to Disney audiences. The old concept is something that we have done for centuries, even long before Disney was starting to make these fairy tales famous on the big screen. Movies like Frozen and Maleficent were refreshing in a sense that true love in the film exists between sisters and mother-daughter relationships, respectively. While yes, Anna ends up with Kristoff in the end, their relationship is not the focal point of the movie. In fact, the movie even pokes fun of that age-old concept in the beginning when she initially accepts a quick proposal from Hans just after meeting him, and she organically falls in love with Kristoff over the course of the movie. So with that said, am I agreeing with the fans that are petitioning for it? Yes and no. I'm not gay, but I accept people for who they are. I can see why they're petitioning because we as a society have done a lot better at progressing towards giving equal rights to those in the LGBT community. It's legal across the board in the United States for people of the same gender to marry and raise families. One of my favorite comedies of all time is The Birdcage, starring Robin Williams and Nathan Lane. It's about two men who have been together for decades that run a drag show, and the comedy ensues when the son they raised together is getting married to a daughter of an ultra-conservative moral order type of politician played by Gene Hackman. And he asks both the characters played by Williams and Lane, and even their gay housekeeper played by Hank Azaria, to quote, act straight, if you know what I mean. It's a very well-written and well-made comedy that makes me laugh every time I see it. And remember over a decade ago when one of the Oscar contenders was Brokeback Mountain starring Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal? Remember that initial controversy because it's about two male lovers? Oh my goodness, you could not believe the backlash from a lot of the ultra-conservative, ultra-religious groups who were saying, hey, you can't do this in Hollywood. As a Christian, I watched the movie for myself, and I wasn't offended by it at all because it was a good movie that told a good story. Heck, there were more male-female sex scenes shown in the movie than those between Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal. Now, we have Sean Penn winning an Oscar for his portrayal of Harvey Milk, the first openly gay man to be elected in a public office in California. So we've definitely had a representation in our Hollywood movies. We've also had TV shows, sitcoms like Will and Grace, Two and a Half Men, and others have such popular portrayals. Even in shows on Nickelodeon, The Legend of Korra series saw the two female leads, Korra and Azami, after many episodes of build-up, finally commit to a relationship at the end of the series finale. That's right, folks. Love between two people of the same gender is even happening in our kids' shows, especially on Nickelodeon. Of course, some are going to say, hey, these kids don't understand. They're too young for this type of stuff. They need to wait until they're older. It's too much of a mature subject. Okay, if that may be true, what about the children who are raised by two people of the same gender or are adopted by them? It's not like they have a choice whether or not they want to be exposed to seeing two people of the same gender in love in a committed relationship. I think children who are raised by parents with strict religious beliefs against gay marriage and who are led to believe such things are wrong are going to be the problem going forward.
How many mothers does Val have?
Just one. This is my mother. My father owns a nightclub downstairs. My mother is the star.
I personally think it is okay, even at relatively young ages, to expose the children that yes, some men love men, some women love women, and as long as you're careful about what you expose to them, it's not a big deal. So no, common sense dictates I don't let a 9-year-old go and watch Brokeback Mountain, but allowing them to see a gay couple kiss or hold hands, that's harmless. Now, with that said, I don't 100% agree with those fans petitioning to have Elsa be gay in Frozen 2. We know there would be controversy surrounding it, especially because, yeah, while we have progressed, especially in the world of Hollywood, we're not 100% towards it. And you have half the nation basically totally against it being portrayed on the big screen. So that means lots of people would be pissed. And that's almost half of Disney's audience that would boycott Disney if this ever happened. So Disney doesn't need to do this just to please a small minority of people. And my biggest reason why I don't agree with them is I don't want this relationship to be forced in the movie. I don't want it to be shoved down our throats. If there's going to be a female love interest for Elsa, it's going to be because we see the chemistry between the two characters, we feel for both of them, and see the feelings developing. With any romance, you don't include it just because you can. If it doesn't add anything to the story or doesn't do anything for character development, then we don't need to include it for the sake of pleasing the LGBT community. Not to mention, this would be someone that has to be introduced and quickly established, as well as a new plot and a new bad guy to go through development, while further developing the characters from the first movie, all within a span of a 70 to 90 minute movie. That can't be done. That's why I fear that including it can be rather forced and can turn the sequel into a convoluted mess. There goes the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I personally would rather have Frozen 2 include a story arc similar to the one we saw in Once Upon a Time, with the existence of an original Ice Queen that happens to be Elsa's real mother. I think that would be more interesting than a female love interest for Elsa. Do they need to include a female love interest for Elsa? No, they don't. Does she even need a male love interest? No. Frozen should continue the theme of a strong, independent woman that doesn't need a love interest to live happily ever after. That's a better message to get across to our younger audiences today. We should be teaching children that women are more than just love conquest, and that genders are equal in their roles. But would I hate the movie if they went ahead with it anyway? That depends if they manage to pull off a good job telling the story and developing the romantic feelings.
But it's Disney.
And people aren't done when it comes to Disney. Now there are people petitioning for Captain America to be gay. Again, why? The reason why that's unnecessary is it wouldn't make any much of an impact at all. Oh, he's had romantic interest with Peggy Carter and her niece Sharon in the future? Nah, by the way, he's gay and he has the hots for this guy now. Why? Captain America is the clean-cut, patriotic conservative that you bring home to your daughter. It wouldn't make any sense if he starts playing for the other team. There's also fans who say Poe Dameron and Finn from Star Wars in the new Star Wars trilogy should make their bromance into a romance. I can agree that can make some sort of sense, and it would definitely generate a lot of attention. I would only be pissed off if it felt forced. At this rate, Finn has much of a chance of ending up with Rey as he does with Poe, but we'll have to wait and see for episode 8. And if Finn ends up hooking up with Rey at the end of the trilogy, that'd be the first time any stormtrooper actually hit anything. Speaking of Star Wars, people are now saying Luke Skywalker should be gay, since he hasn't shown any interest in women throughout the series. In the expanded universe novels that took place after Return of the Jedi, Luke did marry and have children. But with the new trilogy in the works, Disney and Lucasfilm that said all of that never happened. Mark Hamill, in response to this, has hit it on the head. He said, I just read online that JJ is very much open to that. In the old days, you would get fan mail. Nowadays, fans are writing and ask all these questions. I'm bullied in school. I'm afraid to come out. They say to me, could Luke be gay? I say it is meant to be interpreted by the viewer. If you think Luke is gay, then of course he is. You should not be ashamed of it. Judge Luke by his character, not by who he loves. Repeat the last line I just said. Judge by the character, not by who the person loves. Now, would I welcome a separate movie made by Disney in the future that included the concept of true love between two people of the same gender? I don't see why not. But it's gotta be when we as a society are more on board with it. It's one thing to make an R-rated movie about gay people. Heck, those have been done and will continue to be produced. Gay fanfiction and gay porn exists for those who are extra curious, by the way. But a G or an even PG rated movie released to the masses? I don't know if we're ready for it. It should be noted that in the trailer for Finding Dory, there's an apparent lesbian couple being featured in it, and people are already freaking out about that. Do they not know who voices Dory? In the meantime, tampering with something established to please the LGBT community is not something we need to be doing. If you like this video, you agree with me, please make sure to like, comment, and please also remember to follow me on Facebook and subscribe for more Coyote Rants. I'm Desert Coyote 22, and thanks for listening.